Welcome to our session on innovative apps and online resources with Dr. Al Daviso. Dr. Daviso has been an instructor professor of special education at the University of Akron since 2004. He was awarded Outstanding Instructor in 2018. He has collaborated with Akron Public Schools to write and implement 2 grants focusing on the professional development of career and technical education teachers across the district. He is the co-conference planner for DCDT and has published 14 articles on special education. I will turn this over to you.
All right. Well, thank you for that introduction. I also wanted to talk to you guys today about using Breakout EDU to engage students in transition skills. And this came about due to the fact that I was inundated with so many professionals asking me what kind of apps are out there, what can we do to engage our students in transition activities for a wide range of student ability. And there weren't a lot of programs out there that were going to allow us the flexibility Breakout EDU is. So I'm going to introduce you guys to a couple of neat little concepts. We'll talk about apps, but first of all, thanks for that wonderful introduction, Cindy. But I also made up baseball cards just because, at the time the World Series was going on, and I felt like, what, there are not enough baseball cards for special educators. So once again, from the University of Akron, I've done a lot of work with Akron Public Schools, and I work very closely with the schools surrounding the University of Akron. And what I'm able to do is embed my courses so we can go ahead and look at some of these high leverage practices and see what they actually look like in the classroom. But right now, we're virtual. So what are we going to look at today? First, I'm going to show you what Breakout EDU is. Then I'm going to show you how educational games are a promising practice. I'm going to show you how these align with high leverage practices in special education. And then I'm going to show you just generally how you can set up a game and some of the options you have for working with students online. After that, I'm going to show you some really neat tools for creating engaging puzzles or just enhancing the lessons you're putting together now for online delivery, trying to incorporate things that might catch students' attention, that keep them in front of that computer just a little bit longer and keeping that attention span going. So how can we use this to enhance transition skills? I'm going to give you some direct examples, and if things go well, we're actually going to create a game today, and I'll show you how it's done and how you can make individual and detailed adaptations to meet the specific needs of your students. I'm also going to show you how to access free games that myself and my students have created for transition skill implementation. And then at the very end, I'm going to let you know how you can request your own game to be made by myself and my students over the next couple of months, because our university is going to be virtual again in the spring. My students are going to be learning how to deliver this information professionally. Okay, so why Breakout EDU to engage kids in transition skills? Simply put, I took this straight off their website. I loved this program straight from the beginning. Just before our school shut down, I had purchased this program for use in the classroom. And I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second just so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the Breakout EDU set. It's a puzzle for the classroom. However, right now, since we can't get in there and we're locked down, we're going to go digital. Let's go back to the presentation, not a problem. What I liked about it most, it got my students up, moving around the classroom, working together, because each game requires students to collaborate, communicate, think critically, and use creative problem solving. And these are a lot of those soft skills that our students are going to need, whether they're transitioning to employment or they're transitioning to post-secondary education or even independent living. And once again, this this particular platform is applicable to a wide range of student abilities. I am definitely not taking full advantage of this platform. I wanted to make sure we start out slow because there weren't a lot of activities set up for students that might struggle with online implementation. So the virtual classroom, I only discovered this just by accident because I'd already been on the breakout site and we weren't even messing around with the virtual stuff. Once I found out teachers can assign digital games for students that can help monitor their progress. And here's the neat part. If you jump into this with both feet, your students can even eventually create their own games. All right. So you can get a free account. This started this summer, and that's why I thought, hey, the price is right. This account provides the user's ability to access all user-generated games, which are the ones I'm going to be posting for everyone, and to play the Breakout EDU digital games that they have provided. It is a little bit limited, but this is the platform where you can sign up and get a free account. It doesn't provide access to a lot of subject packs, digital games that are aligned to the content standards, but that's okay. This is a great way to see if this approach is going to work for you and your students. If it's something you'd like, proceed with it. If it's something you're like, you know what, this is not for me, take what you can from it and we'll see what we can do. All right. What was the original plan? Well, we got to bring in the COVID-19 factor. I would love to be in South Carolina right now, playing with this game with you face to face and engaging with a large group of people to problem solve while we're learning. However, we could also play a game together online. But since we are going to be recording this, I'm going to simulate the game for you. And I think I'm pretty sure you're going to get most of the questions right as we go through, but I'll be monitoring the chat to see how you guys are doing during the presentation. So like I said, use the chat feature. You can participate. And at this point, I'll be uploading all the links that I'm providing in the chat room so you can download those as well. All right, you know what? Let's learn more about this platform, playing a simulated game. I'm going to take you to my Breakout EDU site. And we're going to play South Carolina Investigation 2020. Let's play it. As it loads up, in this investigation, as a presenter at this virtual conference, I'd like to see the participants see how Breakout EDU can be a fun and engaging learning experience. Our job today is to explore some sample puzzles. Since this is a live lesson, you're going to be able to help me play along and put in the answers as we go. So let's go ahead and play and see what we got going on. We're going to open up our first lock, and you can see there's a series of them going across the top. You're going to learn a lot more about this in the next half hour. All right, what I did is I put together a series of short little videos. I kept them just over a minute long, and I want you to pay close attention to the color of the text. It's going to help you open the first lock. I'll give you a clue. The first color you're going to see means stop, and the last color you're going to need to remember means go. So let's check out how games can be educational. Let's look at why educational games are a promising medium for students with disabilities. First, it makes sense that computer games could be effective teaching aids. The game format has many advantages over the old-fashioned school lecture. Games break down complex tasks into much simpler ones. They help guide players through a series of steps. Learners can control their navigation of the games at their own pace. Games give learners immediate and continuous feedback during the process. Games can also be adapted to the individual pace of the learner. Game-based tasks may require students to formulate hypotheses and experiment. Each of these characteristics has been linked with better learning outcomes. All right, fantastic. What we're going to look at here now, hopefully you were able to remember the colors that came up in a certain order. And if you got them right, you had the color red, and we can go down there and choose it. Red, the next color you probably saw was purple, then black, yellow, and green. So congratulations, we get to move on to the next section. Don't worry, I will show you what happens if we get it wrong. And because that was the number one question when I presented this a couple weeks ago. What happens if you put in a wrong answer? Don't worry, I'll probably mess up and accidentally do that in a minute. Right now, we're going to learn how Breakout EDU aligns with high leverage practices in special education. To solve this particular lock in this section, you should add all of the numbers of the high leverage practices that are addressed. Good luck. That's my only big joke for today. Here we go. Let's look at how Breakout EDU addresses high leverage practices in special education. First of all, high leverage practice 4 is addressed. The use of multiple sources of information to develop a comprehensive understanding of a student's strengths and needs. This can be seen during gameplay, whether you're doing this individually or as a group. It also addresses high leverage practice number 7, when we look at establishing a consistent and organized and respectable learning environment. Students are encouraged to use social skills, take turns, and become highly engaged. High leverage practice 8 is addressed by providing positive and constructive feedback to guide students' learning and behavior. This can be done through the use of clues and through the use of feedback during and at the end of the game. High leverage practice 9 is definitely included within the Breakout EDU, teaching social behaviors, having students work together to accomplish a task. It also addresses high leverage practice 14, which looks at teaching cognitive and metacognitive strategies to support learning and independence. And these games can be adapted to any student level. And last but not least, this game provides the opportunity for teachers to offer scaffolded supports during the gameplay process. All right, did you find the number? Let's solve the lock. So this is a simple addition problem for our students. Nothing overwhelming. However, we came up with feedback during, pause it. The answer was 57. Awesome, we can move on through. What I wanted to do is just show you a quick overview of the types of locks that are available on this digital platform. There are some restrictions, but here in this one, just note the number of locks to move forward in the video. Let's take a look at the locks we've been talking about and how the Breakout EDU game can be used. There are 5 different types of locks. The first one is a text lock. All 26 letters of the alphabet can be used in multiple times. However, there are only 10 options. You can only have a word that would be 10 letters long. The second lock's a number lock. You only have 5 options. There only can be an input for 5 digits. The shape lock has 5 distinctive shapes, and each lock can have a combination up to 5. There's a directional lock with 4 directions, whether you're going up, down, left, or right. And you can even make this north, south, east, or west. But once again, there's only 5 options for this. And there's a color lock that includes 10 different colors with a 5 lock option. So let's see how these would work. And remember, how many different types of locks are there? All right, I know this is a really intense puzzle, but I wanted to show you, you can start this off extremely basic. So we know there are 5 basic types of locks that can be used, and that'll let us move forward. Okay, depending on what type of game you want to set up, how intricate you want it to be, There are many different types of games that can be created for students with learning disabilities using this platform. Although it's more effective, like I said, face-to-face, the digital games can be adapted to each learner. Look for directional cues in this next video to solve this directional lock. All right, let's look at the general game setup that Breakout EDU has to offer. There are three different types of games we're looking at. The first one is a single lock or one puzzle game. This is where students could look up one or more multiple facts to solve a single lock. They could look this information up in the classroom, if you're face-to-face, or if you're asynchronous, this could be something they could do as maybe a web quest. You could also do non-sequential games, which includes multiple locks. These locks can be solved in any order. Students can choose any lock from right to left to solve the puzzle. And last but not least, there is a sequential game where one puzzle will lead to another. This is where students start from the left and move down to the last lock to get the surprise at the end. All right, hope you found all 5 directions. And let's try and solve the lock. I think you guys found moving it up. I think it went down, left, right, and down. Uh-oh, that's not right. What did I get wrong? I bet it's here. Up, down. Uh-oh, what could I possibly do? Well, guess what? If we don't like that, we can skip it. No big deal. Students can move through these puzzles. If they get frustrated, they can move on, and then you can see possible areas where additional intervention might need to take place. What I want to show you here is a really neat way to incorporate student interests into these puzzles. And for this particular puzzle, I want you to tell me where can you find the best information on transition services for students with disabilities and without disabilities in your state. I'm just curious. Let's see if this shows up. This is a Stranger Things wall. I wanted to take you to it. You can design this on your own. And you can see here, it gives you TASC. You could make this wall spell out students' names. You could have them spell out, maybe a characteristic that you'd want to have during a job interview, part of a job application, anything. Right now, Stranger Things tends to be very, very popular with our kids. So if we went back to the puzzle and they were able to view that, they could put in the coolest place to find transition stuff in South Carolina. All right, normally I would have one of my students come in and present with me. However, that's not going to happen today. However, I want to introduce you to one of my star students' games. She's participated in many of my classes and is a well-rounded student. She understands the concept and the shape of the RTI and PBIS models. She knows Dr. Daviso enjoys watching the World Series because it's played on this type of field. After reading this introduction, she knows that he is a total 4-sided shape. All right, this lock requires us to look for shapes to open it, and the clues were provided in the text. Remember, each shape can only be used once, so you choose your best option. And I'll be monitoring the chat to see how you guys do. I bet anything you guys came up with star. We won't want to do that. We can go back since we hit it twice. And I think the next one was well-rounded. The model for RTI and PBIS, had to put that in there because, it's just the triangle shape that's so cool. The baseball diamond. And last but not least, yes, I identified myself as a total square. Awesome. I'm going to take you to that site in a minute. We're going to come back. I want to let you guys know now, I'm going to take you to a place where you can find links to all these games that are focused on transition skills. You're going to be able to find collections of apps for skills in and out of the classroom and materials for online delivery. You're going to find this at livebinders.com. You guys will have access to all of this. So once again, one of the alphabetical locks. This is a long one. So I'm looking for the answer here. It's going to be Live Binder. That's where you're going to be able to find all of these cool games. Excellent. I'm going to stop our game, and I want to show you one my students actually made. Nope. We're going to go back. I don't know how popular it is down south, but The Mandalorian is now playing on Disney Plus. Students are going crazy talking about it. My students decided to make a game focusing on that. And I wanted them to incorporate counting coins, which is a transition skill a lot of our students are going to need. In this particular game, Emily came up with, can you rescue the baby Yoda? The Mandalorian needs help counting US currency to find him. He only knows how to count Imperial credits. Help us, you will. Now, I'll tell you this. If you don't understand some of this stuff, you're like, Daviso is a weirdo. I get it. These games were made for your kids. So hopefully they will like them as much as our students did. So just a basic lock that she came up with. The Mandalorian's not familiar with our coins. Imperial credits are square. What shape are our US coins? Emily came up with, starting with this with just an easy shape lock to get them moving on. She made this using her phone, taking pictures and uploading this. What's the smallest sized coin? The Mandalorian is looking for the name of this specific coin. And of course, the answer here is dime. Now, as this puzzle goes through different stages, it gets a little bit more difficult. Mandalorian found some paper money and wants to know how many pennies are equal to this bill he found. This could be a basic question or a more advanced question, depending on the students you're working with. At this point, you could even go into the Mandalorian has found a collection of coins searching for Baby Yoda. How much is this combination of coins worth? He really needs to know. So if they go add all these up, let me see if you guys get it right. Did you get 59? If you did, you're quicker than I was. And last but not least, Emily put together a cute little accent to this. The Mandalorian has found a doll that looks like the Baby Yoda. My student Emily actually crocheted this. She does this. She's a crafty person for sure. It was made by a very talented artist. It cost 75 cents. The Mandalorian tossed the coins he had on the counter. How much should he have left if he pays 75 cents? Pretty cool. When you exit the game, it'll give them some feedback. You can put your own pictures up there. You could do all kinds of things. This could be a homework pass. This could be a secret code if they get it done that they could escape from maybe another online assignment. This really gets them engaged. It's fun if it's tied to what they're interested in. Okay, so now that we've looked at these examples, I'm going to go back and just show you how we went ahead and created some of these. So we just learned about this platform a little bit. How about this kind of stuff? I was able to put this together in maybe 20 minutes. There's a bunch of cool sites that I've put online for you, as well as like making fake receipts. The makeitstranger.com site allows you to create that virtual wall from Stranger Things. And then there's another site that can help you make fake documents, fake driver's license. And trust me, it's not going to help them do anything, illegal. They are as fake gets, but it allows them to start identifying key pieces of material that they're going to need to know to move forward in the curriculum or solve the puzzle. The KFC one I thought was pretty cool. Like I said, there's just a wide variety of things we can make online to get our kids better engaged. Also with this, there's a whole digital platform for playing these types of games on Zoom and Google Meet. Using this web link, you can go there and see how to set up a successful game so you could play a puzzle with a multitude of students and get them working together, having them come up with possible solutions to these puzzles. All right, you know what? Let's create our own game and I'll show you what I'm talking about. How can we do this very quickly? I want to show you how, not necessarily simple, but I would an ease of use. I don't want to make it look like you have to have next level computer skills to create one of these games. Because if I can do it, you can do it. All right. We're going to go to my platform and we are going to create a brand new game. And let's talk about what types of puzzles we just talked about. We could do a single lock, we can do the non-sequential, or we could do a sequential game. For today, I'm just going to show you how to make a single lock puzzle so we can add some extra bells and whistles and not worry about creating a whole series. So let's do a single lock. And let's call the title of the game, let's see. How about Skills to Pay Bills? Skills to pay the bills. Some of our students are going to be needing some additional work on identifying key information when it comes to paying bills of all kinds. And that also includes learning to pay bills, pay bills online and get the paper bills in the mail. Are they able to read those? So this particular one, we can do whatever we want. Let's set up our lock story. Let's say we'll use Alfred just got a cable bill. And I'll put a space in there and make it look nice. Well, where am I going to get this cable bill? I'll admit I went ahead, downloaded a couple of things online before we started this presentation. You can do all types of lock clues in here. You can embed a video on YouTube like I did in the previous puzzle. You can add just a set of text, or you could put in an image. So what I did is I grabbed a cable bill and we're going to go ahead and use that image down here. And we're going to drag it in. And there's just a fake cable bill. We could ask students anything regarding this bill. We could look at where should they be sending the money to, how much do they need to pay, what's the due date, all the key information that they would need. However, we could also go into, let's see, how much is their TV package? And that's what we could ask for. Alfred just got a cable bill. How much is his TV package? And you got to spell it correctly. And that's what they'll need to move on. So what could we do here? The answer is 4730. We're going to do a number lock. 4730. And that's it. And here's the neat part. I'm going to show you one thing. We're going to save and play it. And you can see how it's going to look. Let's play our game. Skills to pay bills. And they select their first lock. And there's a little cable bill over there. Geez, David, so that's really hard to read. They can also click on it and it makes it bigger, depending on the screen. You could also focus in on just one part of the bill if that's something you want to do. This program is very, very easily to manipulate. You can change these pictures, drag and drop them. You could just give them part of the bill as they go in. So our bill is $47.30. That's the part we want to pay for our TV package. And notice when you get it done, all it says is, yay, you broke out. You could do all kinds of cool little things to make it more engaging for your students. Now, I'm going to share something with you I normally don't share with anybody but my college students, just because, let's just say, it is embarrassing. So let's go back here. What can I do instead of just a congratulations, hey, you broke out? This is the reward students could get. It could be a video, it could be text, it could be an image, or just a general congratulations message. But since you guys are pretty cool, I'm going to go ahead and drop in, let's see. All right, here we go. My students love this kind of stuff. How about a picture of Dr. Davis sitting on the bench during a basketball game about, I don't know, 38 years ago? I mean, seriously, nice hairdos in the 80s. I know, the 80s are cool, but not that cool. The high socks. Kids love getting any type of information about you from the past, getting to know you personally, pictures of your dog, whatever it might be. This is another way we can engage kids and reward them for online participation. Let's see, do I have any other terrible ones that I could put up there? Oh yeah, check out the hair. I'm almost glad these pictures were taken in black and white. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. It looks like I have bangs, and that's just sad. All right, so now that I've embarrassed myself enough, we're going to stop sharing this game and go back, and then you'll get a chance to see that there are a number of different digital games we've created for you guys. We've had using ads and math, learning about Congress, which was just because the election was coming up, reading recipes, reading a bus schedule. You can get access to all of these, and I'm going to show you where. Stop sharing this. I'm going to share my screen one more time. And this time we're going to go to the LiveBinder site. Here we go. On the LiveBinder site, you're going to see Breakout EDU and Transition Skills. And when you go there, you're going to get a chance to see it's got a table of contents. I also will put up any other presentations I've done similar to this presentation. So if you want to check out different games that were created, different questions that might have came up, this is where you can get access to all of these. And I'll show you the ones you saw online were reading recipes. Here's a good one. As you notice, as soon as you click on it, you don't even have to go through the Breakout EDU platform. Now you're going to be able to play it through this LiveBinder. And on here, this was a quick little recipe on stuffed hippo apples. This is one my students and I put together online. Real simple, real basic on looking at ingredients, reading directions, looking at fractions, making sure they pay attention to setting the oven at the appropriate temperature. These things can also be tailored using pictures of things that you have in your classroom or pictures of things that they will see when they're on the job. Cool, that's that one. Let's see. You guys saw the Counting Coins Mandalorian style. This is using ads and mathematics. And on this particular one, they're simply looking at, once again, I got schooled. This is one where I wanted to talk to my students about setting them up. They were talking about buying video games for their Nintendo Switch. I can't remember what game I chose for them to work on this puzzle. My college students stopped me in my tracks and said, Daviso, you got the wrong game. Super Smash Brothers is where it's at. Apparently it is. So on this particular one, Jerry wants to buy Super Smash Brothers for his Nintendo Switch. How much money will he need if he rounds up? And that's before tax. And he could put in $60. Cool. Once again, the Mandalorian comes into play. This is a simple ad that I grabbed off of maybe a Target or Kohl's, I'm not sure. Bottom line is I wanted to make sure the ads that were up there weren't going to change. So if I took kids to a website, they'd maybe take them to Best Buy and tell me how much I don't know, a DVD or Blu-ray costs. Well, the prices fluctuate from time to time. This way, you get a screen capture and you know that the information they're going to see is the same that you would intend them to use to solve the puzzle. So what item costs just under 12 bucks? And they also told me it can't have Star Wars or the Mandalorian in it, just the item, so it's not confusing to kids, and that's the lunchbox. All right, now let's look at resources for apps in transition. This is just one way. Breakout EDU is one particular platform you can use. Like I said, I'm going to be using that for a number of my classes this semester. I'm going to take you to some other applications, but before that, I want to make sure you know this little red tab. When you click on it, all I need for you to do, click on there and contact me if you'd like my students and I to create a game for your classroom to see how it would work. All of my special ed pre-service teachers will be working with this in the spring. We're going to be focusing on employment skills, college readiness, and independent living. And these games can be as simple or as complex as you need. And I can help facilitate Zoom meetings with you, myself, and my students to make sure the game is designed with your input. And all I can say about this, when I did this with college students in my classroom, they were engaged, they were looking around the room. There are phone numbers that Breakout EDU has access to. You can call these phone numbers and it has like a fake voicemail. And even my students, they found a phone number. They're like, Davis, so what do I do with it? I'm like, if I've got to tell you what to do with a phone number, then we really need to start working backwards a little bit. And once they realized that this game had all these different creative possibilities, it's really it's exciting. So for now, for this breakout part, if you want to request the game, please contact me. All right, so I said we were going to look at transition apps so you could find out which ones are going to be the best for your students. I'm going to be doing a lot over the next couple of months, working with multiple districts and multiple agencies on doing presentations on how to use some of these new apps that are out there. So where can you find them? You're going to go to Apps in Special Education. It's the purple tab on the binder. And when you open it up, it's going to give you another binder full of information on applications for phones, iPads, tablets, and computer-based platforms. What we're going to do today, I'm just going to show you how you could use some of these. I'm going to be updating them, but in general, most of these apps are still around, still in the App Store. So if you go to what's called the periodic table of apps, I have one in here we did maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I am constantly updating these. So you're going to start seeing a bunch of stuff for 2020. These are projects that I've been working on with my students. Currently, we're updating all the latest applications when it comes to finding jobs, finding employment, and getting prepared for that interview. And we'll also be working on some of the soft skills they'll need along the way. So let's go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing this because you download this transition to post-secondary education table. It is a very large PowerPoint. Let me show you what you're getting into. However, these are apps to support transition to post-secondary education for all students. And I came across this format in 2015. I love the whole idea of using the periodic table to organize applications for our students. And as you can see here, if you go across the bottom, there are applications for self-determination, money management, job search skills, study skills, things they're going to need to get the most out of their college experience and choose the right program for them. This is set up as a PowerPoint. And what I've done is I've played the show from its first slide. All of these are hyperlinked and can go to different areas of information. I'm sure a number of your students, especially those at the high school level, are looking to improve their driving skills. They want to get their driver's license. If they do, there is a whole bunch of applications out there on how to get prepared. It helps them practice driving without being on the roads, helps them gain experiences thinking about different weather environments, and they get to learn the rules of the road in a safe environment. Now, I also have all of these apps aligned to what's called the SAM-R method. The SAM-R method looks at, is it just a substitution? Does it augment? Does it provide a modification? Or is it an application that redefines what we can do? Think about the maps you have in your cars now. What I like to use the map example simply because we've all used them. But think about the maps now. The applications we have totally been redefined. You can get on the road, you can type in an address, it lets you know how long it's going to take to get there. But what redefines it now is it also gives us real-time traffic updates. It lets us know, well, I know nobody in South Carolina speeds, but we kind of like that up north. If there's speed traps ahead, you can get all kinds of real-time information. This is stuff that wasn't available without these applications prior. So if driving school is not for you, you could go back to the table and go back and check out other apps. Maybe things as another driver's ed one, visual schedulers. All through this, you can find everything on mathematics. Let's see what else. Things to help for budgeting. I know none of your students have problems budgeting money because they're all up north. Mine really, really need help coming up with learning to pay bills, learning to save, making good decisions when it comes to making purchases. So there are applications for every level. I mean, you can just see it just by the icons alone. There's a personal finance one, then there's saving spree, iAllowance, things like that. All these applications link right to the app store that they were found. And I believe this one has close to 327 different apps on it. Another one I wanted to point in your direction so we can talk about being good consumers of technology. This mobile money reader, when it first came out, this was well over $20. And it didn't do nearly as much as this particular app does now. Now for individuals with visual impairments, they can use their camera function. They can use it to scan things, scan bills. This takes something they normally wouldn't be using on their phone and turns it into a very important tool to make sure they're getting the money that they're supposed to. And there's no need to do a whole lot of stuff with it. It reads all kinds of different denominations of bills. I think it was extremely cool. And now it's free. So sometimes you might just have to wait a little bit to make sure these apps have the bugs worked out. And I wouldn't pay any more than $5 for an application, especially if you really haven't had a lot of experience with it. Okay. Back to the table. And when you close the app, like I said, if you don't want to go through this, I'm going to start sharing the screen again. Lost it for a minute, guys, sorry. And like I said, this is is it sharing the screen? Okay, it's okay. All right, now here's a video. Sorry, cut. All right, here's the PowerPoint outside of presentation mode. You can tell here you can scan through all of these apps, and like I said, there's over 300 in there for you to choose from. And when we go back to the Live Binder, there are periodic tables set up for a number of different subjects. So we have these all just for math applications. That was a big push a few years ago. There's well over 300 math apps for your students and you to explore. I did a periodic table for apps for our Akron Autism Society. There are apps in there to help kids stay calm, to help students look at social skills, to help organize and communicate with others. So that's what I've got for you there. And last but not least, when we talk about there's an app for that, there's a space there. If you have questions on applications, there you can see there is a full resource list for applications for students with disabilities. All types of different tools that students could use to be more independent. If you have a request for a specific app, or if you're like, Daviso, can you point me in the right direction? Please email me. My students love to do research-based projects that are functional, that are going to mean something to other educators and other students. And we could find out are there good applications out there at a low cost that could work for your kids. All right, thank you for your time and listening to this presentation. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions on applications, the platform on Breakout EDU, or any other issues that you think that I could provide a little bit of guidance. Thank you for your time again. Have a wonderful day.